you are not.
I'm not? They didn't have a top 5 class in 2019?
They were 6th, according to Rivals.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So if it wasn't 2019, gosh, what the heck was it? 2017? Bob Stoops last year?
Nope. They were 8th that year, according to Rivals.
Okay, help me out. What's the year? I'm already half wrong.
You want to know the year?
Yeah, what's the year?
2010.
2010?
I double-checked this because I couldn't believe it either.
2010, their top commit would have been Blake Bell, right?
No.
Not Blake Bell.
He would not have been their top rated, according to Rivals. I think Blake Bell was 4th.
Okay. Well, I lose. What's the correct answer? 2010, I can't even remember half the guys in that class. Probably most of the guys in that class.
Blake Bell was the 4th highest.
Mm-hmm.
The 3rd highest was Brennan Clay. The 2nd highest was Justin McKay. The highest rated one was Tony Jefferson.
Tony Jefferson. Still doing the thing in the National Football League, by the way.
Yeah.
Tony Jefferson. From Chula Vista, California, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Right?
East Lake High School.
Yep. Wow. It's been that long. It's been that long since Oklahoma had a top 5 class according to Rivals. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know their class was top 5 according to 24/7 in 2019, and that's why that was the first year that sprung to mind. I would not have guessed that it's been almost 2 decades, well, a decade and a half, since Oklahoma had a top 5 class according to Rivals. Okay, my trivia question for you. Oklahoma goes to Alabama. And by the way, nobody on the text line got the correct answer.
No.
Nobody.
Nobody did.
And we invite you to interact as well. Play this game with us. If you can come up with the correct answer, by all means, fire away on the text line and see if you can outsmart either of us here on Trivia Tuesday. But the question I have for you is, Oklahoma travels to Bryant-Denny Stadium this Saturday. We are all very well aware of this. Yes?
Yep.
When the Sooners take on the number 4 Crimson Tide, it will be the first time Oklahoma has played a conference road game against a top 5 opponent since when? Now we're talking true road games.
Yes.
So being the designated away team for the Red River Shootout doesn't count.
So OU Texas is out of the picture here.
Mm-hmm. The last time Oklahoma played a top 5 opponent in a conference road game was when?
Did they have a game against Ohio State?
Conference.
Oh, conference. Whoops. Okay. Ooh. I don't remember the year. I would not remember the year. But would the opponent have been Texas Tech?
It was not Texas Tech.
Okay. Good
guess. I'll give you another one. You want to take a mulligan?
Okay, fine. Okay. This definitely was in the Big 12.
It was.
Would it have been a K-State team?
See, that's been a very popular guess on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Not correct, though. It was not K-State. People are all over the place with their guesses. People are saying Baylor in 2017. People are saying Nebraska in 2001. Like, there's almost 2 decades of variation here. But I asked you this question for a reason.
Okay.
The last time they played a top 5 opponent on the road in conference was when they played number 3 Oklahoma State in 2011.
Oh, my goodness.
A 918 listener just chimed in with the correct answer. This nameless listener, I don't know what to call you. Good on you, though. He said 2011 Bedlam. You are correct. They lost that game 44-10. But that's how long it's been, Grayson. That just
wow. Okay.
That highlights one of the many reasons why Oklahoma made the transition to the Southeastern Conference. Is because to think that Oklahoma hasn't played a road game in conference play against an opponent as talented or at least as highly regarded nationally as this Alabama team in 14 years is kind of nuts.
Especially when you consider the platform and the notoriety of Oklahoma. It's almost like you were a 1, maybe 2-man band in the Big 12. Which is ultimately why you probably had to get out of there.
2011. I remember that game. I don't remember much about it. All I remember was that it was completely lopsided. That was in an era where it felt like once a year, maybe twice, honestly, Oklahoma just got it handed to them by somebody. Especially the year after that, didn't Baylor just whoop up on them in 2012? Then, of course, you had the Russell Athletic Bowl fiasco in 2014 against Clemson. There were a lot of games in that Landry Jones, Blake Bell, Trevor Knight era that just weren't any fun. Oklahoma was still a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
When it all shook out at the end of the season, record-wise. But, man, some of the losses from that era, not fun football games to watch. Boy. If you want to chime in on the text line as we get rolling here, again, 405-651-3439. JT in Tulsa asks, tell us about Amari Latimer, 2026 running back. Amari Latimer, this is not a name that's been like, I mean, it's a name I'm familiar with. It's not a name that has circulated in the OU realm. And that is because, this is a blue chip running back in the 2026 class, Amari Latimer. And he was at one point committed to Wisconsin. I believe he has decommitted, if I'm not mistaken. No, I take it back. He is still verbally committed to the University of Wisconsin. So I don't know why JT in Tulsa is asking about Amari Latimer. I haven't heard much of anything regarding Amari Latimer in Oklahoma. But he's a running back, and a good one, that I guess, who knows, maybe there's a world where Oklahoma gets the sense that things aren't progressing well with Messiah Mickens, and they want to make a run at a guy that has an obvious connection to one of their other flip targets and four-star wide receiver Jaden Petit. Maybe that's where Amari Latimer's name comes into play. But no, right now, folks, the names to know on the flip market for Oklahoma are Jaden Petit, Messiah Mickens, and Jacob Eberhardt. In addition to the brand new offer from Friendswood, Texas, offensive lineman Noah Abebe. He is committed to Tulane, but obviously, I think most everyone has the reasonable expectation that's a flip Oklahoma's going to be able to pull off.
Yeah, it is. And let me ask you a question about Jaden Petit.
Okay.
This has gone on a little bit longer than probably some of us forecasted.
It certainly has.
At what point do we start to be like, is this actually going to happen? At what point do you get to that realm of thinking?
I mean, I think it's fair to already be wondering that.
Okay.
Because it's been, 2 going on 3 weeks since he showed up for the unofficial visit at the Ole Miss game? And so, look, we are, quick math here, 3 weeks out? 3 weeks out from National Signing Day? Tomorrow marks exactly 3 weeks until early signing day. And so we're going to know before too much longer with certainty whether or not Jaden Petit is going to sign with Oklahoma or not. I think at this point, Grayson, the thought and the strategy from the Oklahoma side, based on the conversations I've had, is if we can flip Petit in the next 3 weeks, great. If not, we're going to bookmark that check that we had set aside for him.
Okay.
Because, let's be real here. You're not signing a blue chipper these days for free. But we're going to take that check that we set aside for him, and we're going to apply it to our portal war chest. And we're going to go grab a portal guy at wide receiver that can help us in 2026. Because there is a thought, and I share this belief, Jaden Petit is a guy that should be able to help you in 2026. Now, I don't know if he's on the field 40 snaps a game, but I think he can give you something as a true freshman. If you don't land him, with where things are this late in the cycle, already having 4 wide receiver commits in Braden Allen, Daniel Odom, Xavier Okafaleze, and Jasir Rogers, to me, you can just kind of pick up your stakes, wait a month for the portal to open in early January, and go from there. Go grab you a guy, maybe a big-name guy. What happens if a Cam Coleman or a TJ Moore is in the transfer portal? TJ Moore has some very obvious connections to Oklahoma. OV'd there out of high school teammate of Eddie Pierre-Louis as well. Cam Coleman, those connections aren't really there, but I think most everyone has come to understand he's getting in the portal at season's end.
Why would you not?
There's going to be a massive bidding war that ensues, obviously, and I don't know how devotedly Oklahoma's going to fight a battle like that. But let's just say you wanted to go make a big-time splash in the transfer portal. Well, if you have a couple extra 100 Gs that were set aside for Jaden Petit that you didn't have to use, well, that only helps in a pursuit like that, right?
Yeah. Denver from Indiana with a very strong take on Jaden Petit. This seems to be like that one wide receiver that chose Florida that hung us out to dry, Davian Gross. Cut bait. He's a future transfer portal candidate.
See, I don't know that that's the case. I don't know that Jaden Petit, and I certainly don't sense that Jaden Petit is just willfully hanging Oklahoma, or just stringing Oklahoma out here. Stringing him along only to leave him at the altar at the end. Does that mean he's 100% winding up in Oklahoma's class? No, it doesn't. But you see this from time to time. And in my interactions from Jaden Petit, this is what I suspect is happening. The recruitment I always go back to is Grant Bricks, 4-star offensive lineman from the state of Iowa a couple years back. Grant Bricks dragged out his decision forever. Was down to a final 3 by mid-July and waited to make his commitment until Black Friday in November. And really nothing changed as far as his top 3. He just had to make a decision between the 3. He took one round of visits and then another and eventually came to the decision that he was going to stay close to home and play for Nebraska. Now, Oklahoma was certainly disappointed in that decision because Bill Bedenbaugh had just been up to see Bricks in person 2 weeks earlier, and they were under the impression until very, very late in the process that they were going to wind up with his commitment. But that kid was just a, good-natured dude, nothing malicious about him, nothing insincere about him. He was just faced with a really, really tough decision that was going to dictate the direction of the next 4 years of his life, and he had a hard time telling people no. He had a hard time picking up that phone and having the conversations with the coaches on the staffs of the schools to which he was not committing that he was going to go somewhere else. And it's my understanding that that's kind of what's going on here with Petit, is he's a real nice kid, real polite kid, real soft-spoken kid. And at a certain point, he's either going to have to pick up the phone and tell Wisconsin, I'm going somewhere else, or he's going to have to pick up the phone and tell Oklahoma, I'm sticking it out with Wisconsin. And that's not going to be a pleasant conversation for him or anyone involved. And so there are certain kids, there are certain players who just by virtue of how they're wired are going to postpone that conversation as long as possible until they feel like, okay, I have to make these calls. I can no longer wait this out. That might be National Signing Day for Jaden Petit. I don't know. But at this point, any expectations that you have about the timeline or had about the timeline kind of have to be set aside. And you have to approach this with the understanding that whenever it happens, that's when it'll happen. Can't really have a clock on it at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I mean, you got to take the personality of the kid into the equation here because ultimately they're the ones that have to pull the trigger on this for sure. A texter in the 405, we're going to take that wide receiver check and apply it to a power 4 wide receiver or some more of the FCS garbage we brought in this year.
I like Jermichael Carter, man. I think Jermichael Carter is going to be a playmaker at the University of Oklahoma. Now, I don't know about Giovanni Gibson at this point.
And that's where I was going because your note earlier today on the message boards, my first thought was, oh, is Giovanni Gibson in the doghouse now?
He's not in the doghouse by any means. He's just, man, if you've watched Giovanni Gibson over the last month or so, I think you have understandably come to the conclusion that he just doesn't have the burst right now to be out there on the field on a regular basis for Oklahoma when you have options like Jermichael Carter and like Keontez Lewis, who is going to return to action this weekend. So, look, we may never know ultimately what Giovanni Gibson was going to look like before he suffered that injury, fibula, ankle, whatever it was. It's clearly affecting him. He's clearly not the same guy that he was prior to the injury. He's struggling to separate, and none of what we saw or heard of Giovanni Gibson in the spring would suggest he was going to struggle with that until the injury occurred. So it is what it is at this point with Giovanni Gibson. Maybe you don't get your ROI on a guy like that. But I like Jermichael Carter. I think Jermichael Carter is going to provide some value for Oklahoma, even down the stretch here in 2025. I don't think you have to wait until 2026 to see that. Okay, folks, 405-651-3439 is the text line. Coming up next, there's a name in state that you need to know in the 2027 cycle that does not yet have an offer from Oklahoma, but may very well pick one up at a certain point. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll be right back.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is the Ref, home of Sooner fans.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple App or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
Farmers and ranchers, when it's time to buy or sell ag equipment, think Purple Wave Auction. We're your go-to online marketplace for tractors, combines, sprayers, and more. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Experience the Purple Wave difference. Nationwide reach with a local touch. Purple Wave Auction. Whether you're expanding your operation or streamlining your fleet, we've got you covered. Visit purplewave.com today. Fuel your farm with Purple Wave Auction.
F5 IPA by Coop Bellworks doesn't just hit, it touches down. Brace yourself for a hop-reckoning punch that'll blow your taste buds away. An iconic original that takes the proud title of Oklahoma's #1 selling IPA. Be sure to raise an F5 on game day.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
I'm Oklahoma Sooner quarterback John Mateer. My job is to move the ball down the field and get the Sooners across the goal line. If you've been injured in an auto accident, you need a pro to be the quarterback of your medical care needs. Dr. Martin Lopez and the OKC Car Crash Clinic are your premier teammates to help you on your road to recovery. Dr. Lopez is a specialty trained MD with decades of experience. Make your best play call and contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH. That's 405-862-7274 or visit okccrash.com.
At Armstrong Bank, your business isn't just business to us, it's personal. Our bankers are invested in your success, and we're ready to build a relationship that lasts. You deserve a strong financial partner by your side. Together, we can help make your business even stronger with products and services designed for your convenience. To learn more, visit a location near you or visit armstrong.bank. Armstrong Bank, strength runs in our family. Member FDIC.
Swings, and it's a high fly ball. That's hit deep, way back. It's a goner and a game winner.
Busch Stadium is more than a ballpark. It's where traditions live on. Season tickets keep you at the heart of it all, game after game. Feel the energy of every pitch, celebrate every walk-off win, and create memories that last a lifetime. Plus, enjoy exclusive benefits and experiences available only for season ticket holders. Don't miss your chance to be part of the 2026 season. Unlock your benefits now at cardinals.com/season tickets.
Get behind the wheel for less at Eskridge Honda. Take $1,250 off MSRP on a new 2025 Accord SE. That's right, $1,250 off on a new Honda Accord SE. Stop by today at our new location on 89th and I-35 or online at eskridgehonda.com. Available to customers with approved credit through Honda Financial Services. See dealer for details.
Touchdown, Schooner time. Raise a can of Schooner All-American Ale brewed by Coop Ale Works, the official craft beer of OU Athletics. Join the 82,000 OU faithful cheering in the stadium no matter where you are, celebrating a Sooner win. Boomer!
Let's keep it rolling here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Parker, Thune, Grayson, Singleton with you here on Locked In. Text line's popping off, as it typically is. And we'll get to some of your texts here in just a little while. But first things first, I want to talk about 2027, Grayson. And right now, Oklahoma has the #1 class in the nation in 2027 on the recruiting trail. Most recent pickup last Friday was 3-star running back Jackson Stokes out of the state of California. Obviously, the top 2 guys in the class, rankings-wise, are in-state offensive linemen Cooper Hackett and Caden Penny. Now, I do think Oklahoma's in-state contingent in the 2027 cycle is going to be strong. It won't just be Cooper Hackett and Caden Penny. Kind of crazy to think that Xavier Okafaleze is the only in-state commit and more than likely will be the only in-state signee for Oklahoma in the 26 cycle. But in 27, they've got Hackett. They've got Penny. I believe they lead for Case Alexander, for Gabe Osborne, for Ben Kolar. They've got a dang good shot at Samaj Stanford. But there's one guy that they haven't offered yet from down in southeast Oklahoma. And I'm very curious to see how this process unfolds because he's a popular P4 target with some big-time offers. And the interesting thing about this particular kid is that no one has any clue. No one seems to have any clue. There's no real consensus as to which position he is going to fit best at when it comes time to take his game to the next level. I'm talking about Greydon Howell, 3-star athlete out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Now, he primarily plays quarterback for Broken Bow. But, Grayson, this kid has committable P4 offers at quarterback, at running back, at wide receiver, and at safety.
Yeah.
How many kids do you see these days? And I know we're like, to think that high school prospects run the 100-meter times that they run these days, that they can throw up the numbers on squat that they can these days, that you get aliens like a Jonas Muya, for instance, who are 6'7" and 280 with the relative frequency that we do these days. It's kind of crazy to think just how far college football recruiting has come over the last quarter century. But even here in 2025, how often do you see a kid that has P4 offers to play 4 different positions?
Never? Can I go with that? I've never seen it.
Generally, and these guys are rare, but you do see them. You do see guys that have offers to play on both sides of the ball. More often than not, it's like a wide receiver, defensive back type of prospect, or an offensive lineman, defensive lineman type of guy, or even tight end, edge rusher. Xavier Robinson had collegiate interest as a linebacker.
I would imagine.
Yeah, of course, he wound up playing running back, obviously. But to have the ability to play 4 different positions at such a high level, to have the belief from Power 4 football coaches, obviously not all of them see you playing all 4 positions. They all have specific visions for Greydon Howell that involve something a little bit different. But to think that you're a good enough athlete and a versatile enough athlete that you could have different P4 coaches looking at you and gauging your ability and wanting to get in on the action, the race for your services at one of 4 different positions on the football field, that's generally an indication you're pretty special.
He is a special athlete, and I am so curious to see where he ends up playing and what he ends up playing, because at quarterback, he's got good poise, throws a nice deep ball. Those are really nice deep ball, has a quick release. At safety, good ball skills, athletic as all get out. He also returns punts, too, which I've never seen a quarterback return punts. Like, that's not anything I've ever seen. So, to me, it's just going to be one of those things is, can he find, this is going to be the trick bag for him, can he identify what his best position is and then identify who's going to best develop it? Because when you're proficient, if you're proficient at a bunch of different things, your NFL future may not be at 3 of those. It may be at 1 of those.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to figure out, okay, which one can I take the furthest? And then from there, you got to figure out, all right, who's going to help me take it to where I want it to go? To me, that's going to be the conundrum that he's got to face. I hope he's got great people around him to help him out with that. But that, to me, is my first thought, is that great athlete, great player. Sure, he's a good kid, too. But, boy, you've got a situation that you're going to have to navigate because you're so good at everything.
I genuinely wonder, Grayson, whether Oklahoma chooses to pursue Greydon Howell as a quarterback. Because feels like the Peyton Houston ship is sailing further and further from the port as we go further along, and it becomes clear that he's really just, he's locked in with LSU, not any one particular coach. He's not committed to the coaching staff at Louisiana State University. He's committed to Louisiana State University itself, which, okay, he's a boot kid. You get it, right? But if Oklahoma is moving on down the line and checking out other options at quarterback, I think there's a very strong case to be made that the answer is right there in your backyard. And what you don't want to do is repeat the same, well, I guess I don't want to call it a mistake yet because it's still very early. But Oklahoma let Jamarian Ficklin walk out, right? Oklahoma let Jamarian Ficklin leave the state when it was pretty clear that he was, if not the outright best quarterback in a pretty deep 2025 class within state lines at that position. He was in that conversation, squarely in that conversation. They let him go to Utah. They decided to sign Jet New instead. And so far, what Jamarian Ficklin has done out at Utah would lead you to believe that might be a guy Oklahoma's looking over their shoulder at, wishing they had brought on board 2-3 years down the road. And so Greydon Howell, and there are similarities between his game and Ficklin's, right? Like
let's start off with the fact they're both lefties.
Lefty, kind of got an unconventional delivery, wonky mechanics a little bit that, maybe you'd like to see those cleaned up a little. But really good thrower of the football, outstanding athlete. When you watch Greydon Howell's tape, and I get it right, he's in southeastern Oklahoma. He's playing at Broken Bow. He's not playing the elite of the elite in terms of competition. But it's really fun tape because it looks and feels like he's on a different level of difficulty than everybody else. Everything just looks incredibly easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll translate. I don't know how immediately it'll translate. Because, Jamarian Ficklin was playing at Muskogee. So that was a guy with the level of competition he was facing week in and week out, and also just the level of proficiency that he was demonstrating at that level of competition. You could pretty well figure he can go somewhere as a true freshman, and he might not start, but if he gets the opportunity for some garbage time reps, he'll probably be pretty impressive, and he has been for Utah. But even if Oklahoma doesn't offer Greydon Howell at quarterback, man, this feels like a guy you're going to want in the class with as much as he can do and as electric a playmaker with the ball in his hands as he is. Not to mention he's got really good relationships with other guys across the state in that 27 cycle, which, as we've discussed, is a deep one within the Sooner State. But he's close with several of those guys. And by all accounts, he is, well, for one thing, he's a multi-sport athlete. Football, basketball, baseball, track. So a 4-sport guy, all state level competitor in all of them. He's got college looks in basketball. He's got college looks in baseball. Obviously a really adept track athlete as well. But he's also very well revered down in the Broken Bow community for his leadership, character, work ethic, all of the things that are great to have in addition to outstanding athleticism, right? Like those are all the extra boxes that you hope a guy checks when you turn on the tape and see how outstanding of a performer he is.
Here's my advice or let me not give the University of Oklahoma advice, but here would be the direction I would go with it if I was pushing the button to recruit this kid. I need to have a defined plan. Because I think when a kid is as good as many things as he is, that kid is going to want to know, what are you going to do with me? Right? Where do you see me? What are you going to do with me? Detail how I'm going to get better. So if I'm Oklahoma, whether it's Brandon Hall, whether it's Ben Arbuckle and Coach Coos, whether it's DeMarco Murray, if he's, around in 2027, whomever it is, okay, figure out you're going to play here. You are going to play nothing but here. We're not going to put you on a carousel of positions, and we're going to get this part of your game out of you. So if I'm Oklahoma, that's the approach that I'm taking. And then to me, if I'm the kid, it's like, all right, cool. Whoever can give me the most detailed, nailed down plan for me, I think that's where I'd play my college ball, because at least they've got the structure in place for me to have a chance to succeed. Because where he's not going to succeed is if he's bouncing around and he's becoming a victim of bad structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to pick a position and tell him, all right, you're laser focused on this position, whether it's quarterback, whether it's safety, whatever it may be. Yeah, you want a guy to be a one-trick pony at the collegiate level. Travis Hunter.
That is not something that comes around often.
No, that's a once-in-a-generation type of dude. And as we've seen with a guy like Jacoby Johnson, right, if you're toying with the whole both ways idea, more often than not, it's not going to pan out.
That's what popped into my mind when I was just saying that.
Yeah, if you have a dude who's a superior athlete, let him focus on one thing, let him get really good at one thing, let him apply all of those traits, all of his God-given abilities to one position, one role on your football team, and see what you can get out of him. I think I would like Greydon Howell best at quarterback for Oklahoma. I think I would, because you got Bo Bentley coming in 2026.
Okay.
Right? So it doesn't feel like you've got to have a 5-star type of arm in the 27 class.
True.
And to me, if you have a guy who's right down the road, who can play at a high level, who's got the traits, and I believe he does, and it's not all there, it's not all hammered out, not all polished up yet, but he's got the traits to play the position at a high level, and he wants to be a Sooner. And Oklahoma hasn't seriously engaged with Howell yet in terms of the recruitment process. Obviously, there's been some communication back and forth, but they've yet to offer. None of that has happened yet, but he's an in-state kid. He covets the OU offer, as many of them do. If he wants to be a Sooner, and you know that's a kid that's going to show up, put his head down, and work to be great, not only for his sake, but for the program's sake, makes a lot of sense, man.
It does make a lot of sense. Here's my only trepidation when it comes to this. He right now is 5'9", 5'10", 170 pounds. So he's a little bit on the smaller side. I would like to see him grow more until I say, all right, cool, I want this dude at quarterback in the SEC. I love his ball skills and the way, and his tracking ability and his instinct for the game. I would be okay with him at safety. I would look. I'd like to see more film of him at wide receiver and running back, but safety, and then you use him as a punt returner too. I would like that. I'm more comfortable with that as an SEC institution than I am quarterback, just because of the size as of right now.
Or maybe you just decide, hey, we'll figure it out when you get here. We'll offer you and take your commitment as an athlete, and we can just kind of see how you progress over the remainder of your high school career, and we'll make a decision on where you're going to play positionally once you show up. Now, the last guy Oklahoma did that with, Eric McCarty. That didn't really pan out, but that was because Eric McCarty just couldn't stay healthy. He tore his ACL and meniscus as a senior in high school, and that was only the beginning of what has been a litany of injuries that have really derailed what was, in my mind, at one point, a very promising career arc for McCarty. But similar deal, right? Southeastern Oklahoma kid, did a little bit of everything, was dominant on both sides of the ball. Definitely a different flavor than Greydon Howell, because, Greydon Howell's a lot more twitchy of an athlete than McCarty. McCarty was a dude that was going to run through you. He was powerful. Yeah, he had speed, but power and just sheer will. That was his thing. Greydon Howell's a really, really twitched up, sudden, elusive type of athlete, and that's a really exciting prospect.
You want me to rip open an old conversation?
Oh, boy.
Via the text line?
I don't know where this is going.
A texter in the 405 says, I thought the QB from Deer Creek that went to Georgia Tech was the best in the state last year.
Grady Adamson.
And you and I talked about this a lot.
Really good.
He was
really good player. I think he's going to be a nice fit down there at Georgia Tech, though.
I can't wait till he gets his opportunity.
I know, man. Assuming Brent Key sticks around, which I think he will because he's a Georgia Tech alum.
Yep.
Yeah, Grady Adamson will get his chance at a certain point, and I think he's going to be a big-time playmaker in the ACC. Believe that. A stud, man. And really well built, too.
Yeah.
Really well
6'3", 225 was what he was listed at his senior year, which was my last year covering Deer Creek.
Yeah. Looks like a linebacker.
Yes, he does.
Quarterback, but looks like a linebacker.
He's a big dude.
Kind of John Mateer-esque build.
Yes,
in a
he
sense.
is. And by the way, same style of runner as John Mateer, too.
Yeah.
And more mechanically polished as a thrower.
Like Grady Adamson a lot. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Fire away with your comments, questions, opinions, thoughts, any and all of the above. On the other side, another in-state prospect I want to talk about in the 2027 class and where Oklahoma stands with him. Among other things, we'll get to your texts and much more on the other side. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Hey, this is Michael Vasucci. You listen to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Norman mornings start at Neighborhood Jam. Whether you're craving sweet or savory, classic pancakes or chorizo burritos, we've got breakfast covered. Open 6:30 to 2:30 daily. Join the wait list on Yelp before you arrive.
Neighborhood Jam on Main Street in Norman. Brunch that brings good vibes every time. Start your day with the Jam, your local breakfast destination. Tune in every Friday to hear more about the Hal Smith Restaurant Group during the Rush and the Dari Noka Show here on The Ref.
I wanted to use the Oklahoma Tobacco Helpline because I knew that I could get resources for free. I didn't realize there would be a coach. And that was awesome because you have someone calling you consistently, making sure that you're accountable. It felt like I was talking to a friend. It was a very easy experience for me. So yeah, it was a very key part to my success in quitting smoking.
Call us at 1-800-QUIT-NOW to get started, a program of TSAT.
Hi Norman, it's DJ Newsom with Alliance Bank, your community-driven, friendly neighborhood bank. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur, lead a nonprofit organization, or just someone seeking a better banking experience, we've got you covered. From business to personal banking, we tailor our services to suit everyone's needs. We believe in making banking easy and enjoyable. Visit our Norman location or call us today at 405-286-5750. Alliance Bank, banking tailored to your needs. Member FDIC.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland & Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Hey Oklahoma, Colton Thompson here at Norman Hyundai. The holidays are right around the corner and we know you've got places to be. Grandma's house, holiday shopping, and maybe even a little road trip. So we've got great deals on the full Hyundai lineup to make your season just a little brighter. Deals like 2.9% on the all-new Palisade or even 0% on the Hyundai Santa Fe and Tucson. Plus, with America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles, you'll drive away with confidence knowing we've got your back. NormanHyundai.com.
Hey, this is Tyler McComas with The Rush, and I just want to tell you about an indoor golf experience that I've never seen before, and frankly, I didn't know existed. I recently spent about 2 hours playing at Land Run Links in Oklahoma City, and I really wanted to stay there all day long. It's a golf simulator, but better. It has 300 courses to offer, and one of the many great things about Land Run Links is it's for all skill levels. Check them out today, landrunlinks.com. That's landrunlinks.com.
I'm State Farm Agent Julia Chu, and you already know our office is a place to turn for your insurance and financial needs. Now that place has changed to 701 Wall Street. While the location may have changed, the commitment of our team is as strong as ever. So whether you already know us or want the one-of-a-kind service offered by the Julia Chu Agency, call us at 329-3311 or come visit at our new location, 701 Wall Street, right on the corner of Boardwalk and Wall Street in Norman.
Whether you're celebrating a special occasion, desire a great post-game, or after-work dining experience, the Ranch Steakhouse is the winning choice. At Ranch Steakhouse, we're grilling up the best USDA prime steaks in Oklahoma. Juicy, flavorful, and cooked to perfection. Pair that with an unbeatable atmosphere, a killer drink selection, and a wine list of over 400 personally curated bottles. Whether you're toasting the game or winding down after a big day, Ranch Steakhouse is where champions eat.
On the text line, 405-651-3439. Southside Sooner says, Parker, you're better than Saden Dunn. You saying I'm not dictating like a champion, Southside Sooner? How big a boy are you, huh? 3-star Coyle and Claremore did say, Parker, you better be taking your wife somewhere nice tonight. Happy V-Day. Yes, happy Veterans Day indeed. Appreciate all of you veterans out there, including my wife. She's actually hosting small group for she's hosting small group at our house tonight for the ladies in our church gospel community. So that is how she will be spending her evening. But yes, yeah, we'll cash in on that Veterans Day dinner at some point, even if it isn't tonight. She deserves it.
Going back to the Dudden text, did you ever do that as a kid where you didn't fully enunciate stuff and your mom had to get, like, my mom got on to me about that all the time, about not enunciating words. Like, I'm the son of a pastor and the son of a teacher, which is probably why I talk like this.
Yes, dictation and enunciation was always a big thing for me growing up because, yes, I too am the son of a pastor. Got a double PK show here, folks. But, gosh, I couldn't pronounce the letter R until I was maybe 7, which my parents threatened to send me to speech therapy.
I went to speech therapy.
You did?
I had a bad stutter.
I was like, man, I promise it's not that deep. It'll all sort itself out in time. And it did. At a certain point, I could say the letter R. And from there, I was free and clear. I was good to go.
Taylor Ecton on the YouTube chat, just because you don't have it pulled up, Parker. He asked, what church do you attend? Just curious.
I attend the Well here in Norman. Right now, we meet at the OUBCM building. That is our temporary space. So we have a permanent building that is in the construction process that's up in Moore. And so that's where our permanent church home will be. But in the meantime, we are meeting at the BCM building on OU's campus. So it's kind of nice. Get to go to campus once a week. Of course, my sister's a freshman at OU, so get to see her. And, yeah, everything in my life right now is kind of in the same 3-mile radius or so. Everything's happening on campus or out here on Alameda at the radio station. And then I live in Blanchard, so about 15 miles removed from all of it. But, you know, driving to the same place, in effect, every single day.
A texter in the 405 says, Parker, never say the word dictation on air again.
Dictation? Why? What beef do you have with the word dictation? The way I say it? Is it your moist? You remember that episode of How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, I do, and I would like for you to never.
Oh, that's right.
I would like for you to never.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I know we've been through this before.
Moist makes Grayson uncomfortable too.
And it's the way you enunciate the MOI too.
Moist.
It's just moist. Come on now.
Oh man.
2-star Jay in Tulsa says, Grayson, I'm fairly certain Parker was fully enunciating straight out the womb.
Oh, if only that were true. If only. It was a struggle in my early years, as it is for basically everyone. Brian from Maryland says, are Grayson's parents Pharisees like Parker's? Hey, you take that back, Brian. My parents are not Pharisees.
Pharisees is crazy.
Oh, and of course, we're going to get one of these texts. Okie Joe says, I was today years old when I discovered Grayson was black.
We haven't gotten one of those in a fat minute.
I know. Okie Joe must have watched YouTube for the first time today. No, actually what he says is been listening for a couple years, and for the first time I started Googling all the hosts to put a face with their voice.
Does at least my personality make a little bit of sense?
It does.
With the
I would be able to tell if I'd never heard you before.
There you go.
Apparently that's not the case for everyone, but I would be able to tell. 405-651-3439. Hey, I wanted to bring this up. Meant to do it yesterday. It was such a jam-packed show we didn't get the time to. I got the chance to go watch Samaj Stanford this past Friday for the first time this season.
What'd you
in
think?
Person. He's kind of the last big-time guy in the state, or one of the last big-time guys that I have yet to see in person this year. That kid is really good,
He's
Grayson.
really good, isn't he?
I don't know how much of Samaj Stanford you've gotten the chance to see.
I
but
called a game when Norman North played Broken Arrow.
Well, there you go. So you've seen it up
I've
close
seen
and
him.
personal.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Boy. He's a 3-star right now for us at Rivals. Suffice it to say, after watching on Friday, after watching a quarter and a minute of Samaj Stanford, because he only played 13 minutes, I sent a few texts to the powers that be in the evaluation department at Rivals and said, hey, we have this guy way underranked, underrated. Because that kid, first off, let me set the scene for you. This is what he did Friday night when I was out there. And okay, Broken Arrow was playing Westmore. Westmore is not very good. Totally get that. But in the span of 13 minutes, Grayson, Samaj Stanford returned a punt for a touchdown. He blocked a field goal. He picked off a pass, returned it inside the 10-yard line, and then picked off another pass and housed it. And then took the final, what would that be, 35 minutes of the game off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His Broken Arrow coasted to victory. I'm going to make this comparison. And it's a lofty one because the player in question that I'm going to compare him to was a 5-star. He is the closest thing to Peyton Bowen that I have seen since Peyton Bowen. He reminds me very much of Peyton Bowen in the sense that everything he does on the football field looks so incredibly easy.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, 6A in Oklahoma might not be 6A in Texas. Maybe what Peyton Bowen was doing down at Denton Guyer is naturally a little bit more impressive than what Samaj Stanford is doing at Broken Arrow here in Oklahoma. But you're playing at the highest level of competition in the state and dominating the way that he's dominating. If you look at the stats, you look at the numbers, that's one thing. You watch the tapes. Like when you see it with your own two eyes, when you get the chance to watch Samaj Stanford up close and personal, you see a dude that I'd be willing to bet, absent injuries, has an all-conference type of career at the collegiate level. Regardless of whether that's the SEC, Big Ten, wherever he winds up playing, that's a dude that's going to be an all-conference performer if he stays healthy. Because he just has it. Everything he does is effortless. And that was always the thing that jumped out at you about Peyton Bowen. Is he was a superior athlete, certainly, and I see that same type of, I see those same qualities in Samaj as an athlete, but the effortlessness with which he seems to do everything is what is so reminiscent of Peyton Bowen to me.
And the reason it looks so effortless, and I was talking to one of Broken Arrow's coaches about a month ago, was that game when they came down to Norman and played that game against Norman North. They said he studies the game, he studies his film, and he is one of the more prepared kids they've ever had. And that's why it looks so effortless. I remember the first play of the game, Norman North runs a stretch play to the left, and the running back is stopped for a 2-yard gain, and Samaj Stanford was in there immediately. And he doesn't play box safety either. Keep that in mind. He's like a traditional free safety.
Yes.
And he's in there. I'm like, how did you – he knew where the play was going when I thought back to it. No, and that's the reason it's so easy for him, because he is instinctive, he is smart, and he is uber prepared. I mean, he's going to be an excellent player. If that work ethic transfers to college, he's going to be an excellent player, no doubt.
High football IQ. You see that with Samaj Stanford.
Yes.
And insane. This is another parallel between him and Peyton Bowen. Insane acceleration. Like, he can go 0 to 60 that quick.
Mm-hmm. And his deceleration is as good, too.
Mm-hmm. And that matters, too. Acceleration, deceleration, they go hand in hand.
The Rivals industry rankings does have him as a 4-star.
The industry rankings, yes.
Yes.
The Rivals rankings specifically?
No.
3-star 89.
Yes, you are correct.
I saw that. I was like, ooh, really? Tell me, this kid is a 3-star?
And Rivals is the last of the party, too.
I know.
Because ESPN and 247 have him as a 4.
And look, I haven't watched every single high school football player in the country, obviously. But I've been doing this long enough at this point that it's pretty easy to pick out a top 100, top 150 type kid when you see him out there. Samaj Stanford is that. Samaj Stanford is absolutely a top 100, top 150 player in the nation.
Mm-hmm. Hands down.
And if he does not rise to that territory by the end of the 2027 recruiting cycle, I would be very, very surprised. Now, the question is, can Oklahoma keep him within state lines? Because, and this is another reflection of just how good, how talented, how instinctual he is, and how much he can bring to a defense. He's got some of the biggest programs in the country chasing his pledge. Ohio State is heavily involved. Georgia is heavily involved. Oregon is heavily involved, among many others. So that might be Oklahoma's biggest chore. They overcame Texas Tech with Cooper Hackett. They were able to seal the deal early on with Caden Penny. I think they wind up getting Case Alexander. I think they wind up getting Ben Kolar, and I think things are in pretty good shape with regard to Gabe Osborne's recruitment as well. But the toughest battle that you might have to fight for one of those legit elite in-state prospects might be the battle to keep Samaj Stanford out of Columbus, Ohio, or Athens, Georgia, or Eugene, Oregon. Somewhere like that. Because those schools are going to keep knocking. They're already at the door, and they're going to keep knocking.
Yeah, and they are going to come to the table with a pretty nice offer financially as well. This is hilarious. War Suitor says, Parker doesn't see race, but he hears it.
Southside Sooner says, I don't believe Grayson is black.
Go look up my Instagram. It's not that hard to find.
That's true. He is not a hard man to find. And guess what? You can tune in on YouTube every single day.
That too.
KREF Sports on YouTube.
Virgil on the YouTube chat, speaking of, says, while I'd never mistake Parker for a black guy, he's got more flavor than most now.
Is that Virgil Walker?
Yes, it is.
Love that dude. Virgil, miss you, man. Looking forward to seeing you
I tell you what, his food got some flavor like as if it was a black person cooking.
Dang straight.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, we don't eat bland food at the Thune household. Forget that. All right, folks. On that note, we are done. We will do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same place here on The Ref. Coming up next, it's The Rush. 3 more hours of OU sports talk ahead. Keep it right here on the home of Sooner fans. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.